The Protoss player for Samsung Khan starts to the bottom right of Red City. 2-0 in the group. He is.
Samsung Khan JangBi.
If JangBi wins the game, he is in Codes. Not only will he be in Codes, but if he takes this game, it also means that Creator has no chance of advancing anymore. Starting to the top left, JangBi's opponent, the only Zerg player in the group, also with a 2-0. He is.
Root Gaming YugiOh.
YugiOh finds himself in a very similar situation to JangBi. He's also 2-0 in the group, didn't suffer a single loss yet. But if he takes the game here and has a 3-0 record, he won't be qualified for Codes next season just yet, or for the OSL. It's basically the same thing, just a different name with a new WCS format.
Yeah.
But he would also seal the fate of one of the players in the group if he takes it. He would make sure, with a victory against JangBi, that YugiOh would drop to Code A and couldn't advance the day anymore.
Now that we have some time, we have JangBi going for a gateway span. Let's talk about this a little bit because we haven't explained this too much. I think a lot of people are starting to figure it out as time goes on. But the OSL is Code S, run by OnGameNet, and it is a term that has a long-standing history. And Code S and the OSL are the same level of play, almost identical formats. A few changes here and there. But that's why when we say that JangBi wins, he goes to Code S. We of course mean the OSL, but it's the exact same format, and so therefore it's essentially the same thing. It's considered to be the same level of play. For JangBi, though, in this case, he is a 2-time OSL winner in Brood War. He wants to win a third one so he can get that golden mouse. So for him, this means I feel a lot more than it does to YugiOh as far as the OSL specifically goes. But for YugiOh, of course, he wants more money. He wants to go to the more prestigious tournament.
It's basically the new WCS system that Blizzard has, and what they had to deal with in Korea was, of course, two competing companies, OGN and GOMTV. OGN had the individual tournament, which is the OSL. GOMTV had Codes, and the agreement that was found is that they basically take turns in hosting the Premier League of WCS, which for GOM is called Codes, and for OGN is called OSL.
Holds the same weight as far as points for WCS goes and everything else. So
exactly. So basically, it comes down to the same thing, but of course a little bit of a difference here in the system that they use at the end. But yeah, that's what the next season is going to be. There's a little bit of confusion, and of course especially the Koreans are a little bit reluctant to give up the names like Code S and call it the WCS Premier League all the time, just because that brand has been established over the course for more than 2 years.
and years and years, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at the GSL, it's been around for a long time now for Starcraft 2, the Premier League, and then you know, OSL has a lot of history in Starcraft 1, so.
And focusing on the game at hand once again, what we see here is YugiOh going into an early third base once again. He has a couple of Zerglings just trying to move in here and maybe take down a pylon, but the Mothership Core is out fast enough for JangBi that he can deal with it. But the one thing that is true is that YugiOh is taking this risk again that he took already against Creator on Star Station. He's taking that third base even though there's a gateway opening.
Yeah. And you know, this time he saw it before. No, actually, you know what? His links, I think he just barely did not see it in time before he started his base. So he's in the same situation he was in before, where he just kind of did it and then he saw, and he's just going to transition. Once again, takes no gas until very late and doesn't have speed. So you leave himself a little bit vulnerable. I wonder if JangBi will do something similar to Creator, but actually commit to the sentry attack rather than just kind of poking and running away like we saw Creator do.
He is a more aggressive player, and he could definitely do that. We have the extra gateways, of course, being built. That's a given with this kind of type of play that we have from him. Using a force field here to block that Zergling that was sneaking into the main base off, and he just barely pulls it off. There are actually even more gates coming up right now, so he's currently heading into
5 in total.
5 gates in total. This is a lot more aggressive than what we saw from Creator, and YugiOh has to be so careful here. I don't really think that he can hold this third.
Yeah, I don't think so either, just considering that he's only now taking his gas. He has not spotted the probe that made the forward pylon. He hasn't seen the gateways either. Yeah,
it's a matter of information, and he doesn't have those information just yet. The Overlord is moving in. If he gets a glimpse of this, he might be able to pull that off. But the sentries are already moving out. We have a completed wall at the front. The sentries have been spotted, though, and the Overlord is now going in the main base, and at this point already the spider senses of YugiOh are tingling.
He has 5 larvae, starts the 6, 8 Zerglings now, even 10, uses all of the larvae for this, starts the Roach Warren as well. He's going to need all that gas he can get on the Roach Warren. Chrono Boost going down here, the first 4 Zealots going live here. And JangBi, will he bypass the third base and go straight for the natural? It certainly starts to look that way.
JangBi has a lot of units here, and he's moving in. 20 Zerglings are being produced. but he does really not have a lot that he can work with here. The problem that we really have is that he doesn't have speed, and with slow links against this, yes, there's no +1 attack upgrade for the Zealots, but still, this is going to be a huge problem. He needs perfect flanks with good force fields. JangBi can do a lot here.
Yeah, he needs good force fields though, because there's also a lot of queens in this army. 4 right now, getting ready to fight. They have a good amount of range. Force fields starting here pretty decent. He gets a lot of these Zerglings down.
Yeah, Roach 1 is ready though, and now he's getting all those additional Roaches that he needed, and he did not really overcommit to drones. He has 46 drones against 31 probes, but here comes JangBi, and he could force field the ramp.
He force fields instead the queens for now, and also slows them a little bit. He'll probably force field the ramp very soon, at least he should. More Roaches stream down there.
I can't believe that we don't have a force field on the ramp. There it is, and now
Very
suddenly
late.
YugiOh is completely cut off from his main base.
Oh, and all these drones coming down here. They're even time warped right now. Good kiting by JangBi. He's going to have another warp in just a few seconds. Starts to get those stalkers in. More and more drones starting to go down, and YugiOh is in trouble here. He has a lot of resources, but he doesn't have a lot of larvae. That's his problem.
YugiOh is on his last leg here. Another force field on the ramp would make sure that reinforcement can't move in. I can actually not believe that he is not continuously force fielding that ramp. He has to do that. YugiOh is still trying to hold on to this, and he has more supply than JangBi, so this is a matter of time. If JangBi gives him too much, then he could actually make this hold happen.
He needs to hit that force field. It's like he's too nervous to go over there. Decent force fields, though, on this army. Trapping those Roaches. They're not fighting, they're running, but they're dying too quickly here.
A lot of energy being used here to trap them. On the other hand, the supply is now even. We have a lot of resources still for YugiOh, but as you pointed out earlier, lava is a problem. He should move those queens back and at least get the inject at the natural. That would already help him. And JangBi is actually moving back. JangBi is moving back. He looks at it and he's like, I'm not sure if I can make this happen. Is he trying to move into the third?
I think so. You know, he's nearly got enough for a recall. So he can try to snipe the third base and maybe recall away. He's going to catch this Overlord here. That's a nice little catch.
But you know, even if he takes the third, YugiOh would still be alive. If you lose the natural, then it's a different story. Then you can just either walk into the main base and force field the ramp again to take down the main base, or force field the ramp and go to the third base. But as it is right now, YugiOh has a lot of time here. He could make that happen.
I think he's going to hold the third base even. There's not enough here. He has to recall. Well,
he's waiting, baiting out additional force fields, losing only a queen, nothing else. The third is still alive, and the reinforcements will be there fairly soon for the Zerg.
He wants to trade as much as he can before he uses the recall. Should use it in just a few seconds after he kills some of the Roaches. Nice transfuses. He needs to get out.
Too many Roaches, and he has the recall, and YugiOh, he holds. YugiOh actually holds.
That was really well done by YugiOh, and JangBi, you know, just a little bit of hesitation to force field that ramp. Had he force field the ramp, I think YugiOh would have been dead there.
Yeah, me too. I think with a force field on the ramp and then trying to move into a decent position, he would have done a lot more with this attack. But right now, YugiOh, how many harvesters did he actually lose? Let's have a quick look at this. 10 in total. 10 harvesters killed by JangBi. The harvester count now 35 for YugiOh and 45 for his opponent. So what the Zerg player has to do right now is drone up like a madman, commit those lava, and make sure that he gets as many harvesters into the game as humanly possible, while still doing something with a massive army that he has on this map.
Yeah, he's sending the army out as you speak right now. The Mothership Corps trying to go out and scout this. And we have a Twilight Council researching Blink, and +2 is going down with more gateways. JangBi looks like he's just going to do a second all-in, not going to take a third base. He could try for it. I just, you know, the way he's done this, I think he needed to have his third base up faster. I don't think he's actually going to take it. He could.
No, he's getting 3 additional gateways. There's no way that he is really taking that third right now. I think
he's
you're right.
Getting
he's
the Immortals, right? You know, so I think he's just going to do a second all-in, but Blink takes so long, YugiOh should easily have enough units by the time this hits.
I don't know. It depends on the quality of the units, you know? I don't think that with the pure size of the army, you can make that happen with how Red City works. You can use those force fields really well to shield your Immortals, and Ling Roach is just so weak against +1 Zealots and...
+2 in this case even. He's about to have +2, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's +1.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, +1 Zealots, no armor upgrades for YugiOh, and then we have the Immortals to take care of the Roaches. It's about position. If you are caught in the middle of the map, then of course you need too many force fields to make this happen. But that is strong what JangBi has on the map here. If he gets a really good position for good force fields...
Yeah, and no speed for Lings or Roaches here. They're very slow.
Yeah, but YugiOh is completely aware of this. He's trying to buy himself as much time as humanly possible.
Another Immortal rallied across the map. It'll be the third one. There are 21 Stalkers, soon to be 21 Blink Stalkers across the map. And YugiOh, he just needs to buy a little bit more time. He has both speed and Roach speed.
Both coming up, and the Hydra then too. He's trying to just walk past his opponent with that army that he has. He's moving those lings in. They are still slow. The Mothership Core is on the way back. But this could actually break the wall. There are only 2 cannons, and 2 cannons are not going to be enough. JangBi is committing more.
5 spines on the way currently for YugiOh. 9, 10.
He really wants to hold the natural. And here we go. The Zerglings are at the ramp. They're attacking immediately. The cannons are not ready just yet. Those roaches will be there in a second as well. The photon overcharge. YugiOh doesn't give it about this.
Yeah, he certainly does not. He's just going to burst through. Not enough here. Sentry's force fielding. He has 12 spines on the way. The sentries need to be pulled back here. They're all going to die.
The sentries have to be careful, but now those cannons doing a lot of damage, and the sentries at least can take down so many of these units, but just dropping the force fields and making sure that the rest of the structures can do that damage. Once again, YugiOh trying to break through, but the sentries just too strong.
JangBi holds. He has too much production. He gets the sentries out. He's not going to be able to kill the main base for a long time, but he kills a natural, which is also the lair.
Exactly, it's the lair for him, and that's something he cannot afford to lose, but he just did. And the worker supply 31 against 46, 2 base against 1 still. Yes, JangBi will not be able to break up that ramp, but he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. He's just going to start a 3rd base and maybe even set up a little bit of a contain here.
That Spinecrawler wall was basically... What that Spinecrawler wall was designed to do is help him in a base race scenario. But that never happened because with all the sentries that we saw at the natural, JangBi could easily force field out the army of YugiOh. So YugiOh's strategy here is not going to work for him.
Yeah, this is not going to work. JangBi just continues to check here with now the hallucination. He's going to catch a queen here. Could actually pick off more if he's not careful there. And JangBi sets up the contain. He knows there's no lair, so there's not going to be a spire or any units flying out. He doesn't have overlord drops.
This game is basically over at this point. YugiOh gambled. He thought he could break through, and then it would have been a base race. And with the Spinecrawlers on top of the ramp, it would be very difficult for JangBi to break through because he has to move into a choke point. And he cannot make that happen against this many queens for Transfuser and the Spinecrawlers. But as he is, he knows that he has no chance of coming back. JangBi takes it. He advances now to Code S. He advances to the next season of the WCS. The OSL has a 3-0 record in the group, and Creator is therefore out of the tournament. Creator, with a current score of 0-2, and the opponents that he lost again cannot advance anymore today.
JangBi just taken a game that was, you know, I wouldn't say he was really behind in it, but he didn't get to kill an athlete and force to the ramp. He didn't do critical damage. He did some trading that was decent. Transitions beautifully. Also has a great hold there. And YugiOh, his idea was good. He had the spines going up. He just thought he could break through. He thought the sentries wouldn't be there, but they were.
And that's the thing. If JangBi says, okay, I'm going to take those sentries with me, then it's a very different situation for him to face as soon as those units move in. But he saw them. He saw the links. He saw the roaches. He knew that it would be a counter-attack, or that at least there would be the chance for it. So he leaves them behind. Great decision. Saves him the game. And what really broke YugiOh's neck is that he was so low on harvesters after the initial attack of JangBi.
Yeah.
Because if with more resource and a little bit of faster tech, he had so many roads to go down. But in this scenario, it was either the base trade or him losing the game. And he committed to the base trade. He could not save his natural. He couldn't break through at his opponent's natural, losing the game. In the
JangBi, great performance. Goes 3-0, advances to the OSL, where he will try to get his golden mouse.
Yep. And we, of course, have another short break now, and then we are heading into the next set of matches before we find out who the second player is that will advance to Korea together with JangBi. Stay tuned, and we'll be back in a few.